started coming to the New Jewish Theater in 1999, and I saw The Immigrant with my husband, and at that time we enjoyed it so much that we decided we would be season ticket holders and then later patrons.
Back in the day, when I first came to work here at the J, there was a theater program, and it was called the Shalom Players. The theater was not on very strong legs. A big audience might be 35 people.
Kathleen Sitzer was so ambitious, and she had a vision that I've never been clear that she understood how big her vision was.
It was my feeling, number one, that this was a theater at the Jewish Community Center, so it needed to have a strong Jewish focus. And the other thing that I felt very strongly about was that it needed to be professionalized.
And so her priority was always, and I think I carried on this tradition, it was about the quality of the work. But it was always about, let's do the best work we can do for this audience and for St. Louis at large. And I think that bore out, actually.
We have actually attended all the performances that have been given at the New Jewish Theater, except for if we were out of town.
The biggest change, of course, has been in the technical resources. The older theater was a very limited space that they wrestled to submission to do their shows in.
You know what? Before we have the theater we have now, we worked on a postage stamp. You can't believe how small the stage was. The other thing about the old theater was that the ceiling was extremely low. And if you had a tall enough actor, they could adjust their own lights. They could just reach over their head, which was great.
So we were downstairs, and they decided in this renovation to invest in this new space. And part of the reason for that is that in the preceding 10 years or so, the New Jewish Theater's growth had been pretty astronomical.
But now we have the wonderful Wool Studio Theater that has tremendous technical resources, seems like infinite flexibility, and it's just a great place, and it has been utilized so well. The production of Brighton Beach Memoirs and then Broadway Bound recently used the same set. The theater was set up so that the set was in a corner, the seating was on two sides, so we got to see two sides of that home in Brighton Beach where all the action takes place, and it was just a miraculous set and was used so well.
It's really tremendous, all the different plays from so many different playwrights from all over the country of different races, different genders, just this amazing diversity of work that the people of St. Louis have been able to see because of the New Jewish Theater.
We produced intimate apparel, Never the Sinner.
Brighton Beach Memoirs, Driving Miss Daisy.
A very funny play called Laughter on the 23rd Floor. A two-character play during the Second World War.
Dear Jack, Dear Louise.
Born Guilty by Ari Roth.
I remember Hello Mudda, Hello Fada, and I was singing along with it all the time because I know the words.
The most memorable one to me is Falsettos.
Falsettos, which was in the old space. It's a bold musical that I thought was really important to share. I thought it was very brave programming on Kathleen's part.
I felt we were groundbreaking with that. In fact, I had some apprehension. Was our audience ready for a play on the subject matter? They were, and it was phenomenal.
One was called The Disputation many years ago.
I read the script. It was a fascinating script, fascinating story. I thought, our audiences will never sit through this. And the audiences, much to my surprise, were just totally caught up in it.
The wrestling of ideas was as exciting as wrestling was because of the way they were done.
But then you're an intellectual, so you could like that kind of thing. I mean.
Guilty as charged.
There are so many lenses to look at life. And as a Jew, I have many different Jewish lenses through which I look at mine. I belong to a synagogue, I belong to a community, I belong to the Jewish Community Center. New Jewish Theater represents that portion of my Jewishness with a very universal lens, and we can take almost any subject matter and view it through our perspectives.
Why it is really important is because it attracts a lot of Jewish people, and it should attract even more.
But that's another thing. You start looking at American theater, and if you're focusing on plays by Jewish writers, you've got quite a collection you can pick from. So, and it is good to have a theater with a real point of view.
It really just blows me away, the passion that people have for this theater.
This is a very challenging time for theaters all over the country, theaters of all sizes.
Like many of our brethren theaters, the audience of the New Jewish Theater has not returned at the same amount, at the same quantity as it was before the pandemic. The ones that we have are loyal and they're wonderful and they love us, and I'm thrilled that they keep coming, but it's not enough to sustain the level of theater that we have. And at the same time, as the audiences have dropped, the costs have risen.
We have stories to tell, and these stories are important.
The only way that we're gonna be able to get through it and survive is through the generosity of individuals.
We are at a very odd time in the American theater where theaters are closing every week. And it would be a damage to St. Louis if the theater were to go away. We seem like there's much bigger theaters in St. Louis. I happen to think NJT is the brightest little diamond.
Maybe someday we'll get to be here together celebrating the 50th anniversary of New Jewish Theater. I think it's an amazing accomplishment, an amazing milestone to reach 25 years. And with this amazing community that we have, I have a feeling we're going to be in for a great 25 more.